Infidelity is one of those topics that is always sensitive and at times uncomfortable to talk about. Yet, it's something that touches the deepest parts of our relationships, challenging our emotional security and confidence in ways we often don't anticipate. Nobody wants to face the possibility of being deceived, but the truth is, the signs can often be right in front of us, camouflaged in everyday behaviors, actions, and yes, even in the words we speak. We often overlook these signs because they appear so innocent on the surface, yet when examined closely, they can reveal a much deeper story. Today, we're diving into 5 phrases that might seem harmless at first, or even trivial, but when you look at them through a more discerning lens, they can offer clues to emotional distance, or in some cases, infidelity. These phrases, while common in relationships, can sometimes hold hidden meanings, subtle signs that the dynamics between you and your partner might be shifting in ways that aren't immediately obvious. Before we jump into the specifics, I want to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Here at Be Masculine, we dive into topics that help us decode human behavior and better understand the complexities of relationships. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll always be the first to hear new updates and tips. Also, as we go through each phrase, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these situations have you experienced in your own life, and what was the outcome? Let's have an open conversation about this in the comments. I'm excited to learn from you and share insights together. 1. I've decided to start going to the gym. At first glance, the statement, "I've decided to start going to the gym," may seem completely normal, right? After all, prioritizing health and fitness is a positive step for anyone. But what if this sudden shift happens without warning and is accompanied by strange behavior, like an unusual obsession with appearance, changes in routines, and extended absences from home? For example, let's imagine a scenario. Your partner, who has never been particularly interested in fitness, suddenly becomes laser-focused on working out. They begin buying new clothes, joining the gym, and adopting a strict diet. This could all be part of a personal health transformation. But here's the question. Are these changes being shared with you? Is there transparency about their schedule? Who are they spending time with during these extended hours at the gym? Now, I'm not saying that someone can't just decide to make changes for their own health, but what we need to be aware of are the changes in context. If these new habits coincide with emotional withdrawal from the relationship, or if there's a sense of mystery surrounding their fitness journey, it may be worth digging deeper. Often, abrupt lifestyle shifts like this can signal a desire for self-reconnection, which is healthy. But if these changes happen alongside an emotional distance between the two of you, they might also suggest something else is brewing. Ask yourself, does their newfound dedication to the gym create barriers between you? Is there a reluctance to include you in their new routine? These subtle clues, including body language or a lack of enthusiasm in sharing these activities, can provide important information about the state of your relationship. 2. I need some time for myself. Everyone needs space to recharge. After all, personal time is essential for mental well-being, and it's completely natural for anyone to ask for some solitude from time to time. But what happens when this seemingly innocent request starts happening more frequently, and without clear reasons or explanations? For example, imagine that your partner begins disappearing for hours, or even entire afternoons, without providing much detail. When you ask why, they respond with something vague like, "I just need to think," or "I need some time to reflect on life." At first, you might respect their need for space, but as this pattern continues, you might start feeling like something's off. Is this time for themselves a genuine need for personal reflection, or is it an avoidance tactic? When the request for space begins to disrupt the emotional connection between you, it could signal that there are deeper issues at play. It's important to consider whether these absences are happening because they're dealing with personal issues, or whether they're trying to avoid conversations, or even intimacy. Look for patterns. Is this request for space becoming more frequent, or is it being used as a shield to dodge important conversations? How does your partner behave during and after these periods of separation? Do they return with renewed warmth, or is there a continued emotional coldness? These behaviors can sometimes point to emotional disengagement, so paying attention to the changes in your connection during and after these moments of solitude is key to understanding what's truly going on. 3. So-and-so helped me with this. This is a tricky one because it's incredibly subtle. When someone says, "So-and-so helped me with this," it seems like a completely innocuous statement, right? But let's break this down. If someone repeatedly mentions a person, especially of the opposite sex, in the context of mundane things like, "They helped me with a computer issue," or "They gave me some advice," it can be an attempt to normalize that person's presence in their life, making it appear harmless even if there is something more going on. Think about it. How often does this name come up? And more importantly, what's the emotional tone when this person is mentioned? Is it casual and indifferent, or do they seem unusually enthusiastic or defensive when talking about them? Consider the bigger picture. Are there any other behavioral changes happening at the same time? Perhaps there's more secrecy or distance between the two of you. Maybe their mood shifts when you ask questions about this person, or they become defensive. When someone tries to justify their closeness with another person, especially if they have no obvious reason for doing so, it can indicate that they might be trying to hide something. Also, pay attention to how you feel when they bring up this person. Does it trigger any discomfort, or does it feel like they're almost trying to guilt trip you into accepting this new friendship without question? These small details can sometimes speak louder than the actual words being said. 4. You should spend more time with your friends. At first glance, this phrase can seem like an act of kindness. Your partner may say, "You've been so stressed lately. You should go hang out with your friends. Take a break." It's a common thing for someone to say out of concern for their partner's well-being. But what if this becomes a frequent suggestion, particularly when the person making it is often unavailable themselves? For example, what if your partner keeps telling you to go hang out with your friends, but they themselves are distant, unavailable, or absorbed in their own activities? This phrase might sound supportive on the surface, but it could be a tactic to create space for other activities outside the relationship. It's as though they're pushing you to go do something fun while they quietly withdraw into their own world. What to look out for here? Is there a pattern of your partner suggesting you spend time away from them? Do they seem to be growing more distant when you're together, while encouraging you to focus elsewhere? Consider whether this is an attempt to avoid intimacy or a genuine concern for your well-being. The key is to observe if this pattern becomes a habit that leaves you feeling disconnected instead of cared for. 5. You need to trust me more. Trust is, without a doubt, the foundation of any relationship. But what happens when your partner uses the phrase, "You need to trust me more," in a defensive tone? Especially when you ask them a simple question or raise a concern about something that feels off. Imagine you notice a sudden shift in their behavior, like coming home late without a good explanation, or acting distant when you try to engage. When you ask them about it, they respond with, "You just need to trust me more." On the surface, it sounds like they're reassuring you, but in reality, this phrase is often used as a shield to deflect deeper questions or avoid confronting potential issues. Ask yourself, is this a one-time response, or has it become a recurring pattern in your conversations? When used frequently, this phrase can be an attempt to shut down meaningful dialogue or divert your attention from behaviors that need further exploration. Rather than making you feel secure, it can leave you questioning what they might be hiding. It's also worth paying attention to the context in which this phrase is used. Does it happen during vulnerable moments, when you're asking difficult or uncomfortable questions? Or is it being used as a tactic to avoid responsibility or accountability? The way they use this phrase can tell you a lot about the health of your relationship and the transparency between the two of you. Final thoughts. On their own, these phrases might seem harmless. By staying observant and conscious of these small but significant shifts in behavior, you can maintain a deeper understanding of the health of your relationship. Remember, a relationship thrives on communication, trust, and transparency. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Address it openly and honestly, and always look at the bigger picture. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and join our growing community of people dedicated to improving their relationships and understanding human behavior. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments. What experiences have you had with these phrases, and how did you navigate them? Let's keep the conversation going. Together, we can learn and grow.